great community.
Probably and I love this.
Awesome content, bro. Keep up the good work. XD. Nice. I don't like FNaF and FNaF ships, but it is nice.
IKR FNaF ships are so bad. Would rate 0/10. Shipping dead children is the best thing in the world. The community is totally normal and so good. Liked the video. Best video I've ever seen. I don't like Donica. I ship Fredka, Kendall and Toy Donica. Bonnie X Toy Chica.
What? FNaF, isn't it a great community? There's fan games, fan art, ships, and also fan fiction about ships. As stated in my previous reaction videos, I don't care if you like FNaF ships. I'm not stopping you to do whatever you want as long as it's not hurting anybody. And shipping animatronics is, I guess, not really hurting anyone. I just personally don't like it. So, what happens when there's hundreds of videos and art about animatronics falling in love, but you only have minimal drawing skill? So when you draw a ship and post it on DeviantArt, hoping to get some recognition, you're only met with no views whatsoever. Well, it's the same thing but with SFM. You turn to writing. It's much easier because the only thing you need to do is just type away. One of the many great things about fanfiction is that anyone can share their version of the story or interpretation, but one of the many bad things about fanfiction is that anyone can share their version of the story or interpretation. I'm not saying that every single fanfiction is bad. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, right? But I think one of the many reasons there's so much fanfiction is because, well, as I said before, it's easier. You don't need art skills or a program to make something. You just go to a website and just type. But some people miss important things like grammar, punctuation and spelling. Now, I can't critique too much about this because I think some of the writers haven't learnt English as their first language and or was a young child. But it doesn't mean I can't critique it entirely. This is just based upon a few fanfics I read by myself. I only read 3 or 4, but not the entire thing because I couldn't handle it. And they're long as entire freaking novels. So please, take what I said before with a side of salt. With that out of the way, let's look at fanfics. Right, so I chose this random comic I just found. It's a 1-part because I want a complete story, why not? Yeah, just a random story I got. It's called Defending Friends and it's a Bonnie x Freddy ship, so let's see how this goes. Let's just go. Right. The clock just struck 7 AM. I began to tune my electronic guitar whilst the others get ready near to me. In the distance, I could hear heavy footsteps walking my way. I slowly craned my head up at the figure making its way towards me. I knew it was Freddy. Every morning, he would come and visit me in the back room with Endo. He was pretty much my best friend, and he had always been since the beginning childhood. I faintly rose, burning upon my cheeks, and as he sat down next to me with a large grin on his face. "Are you ready to pre-form, Bon?" he asked softly. Staring into my pale maroon eyes, I chuckled slightly. I loved how he calls me Bon. He's the only one who says it to me. Great. I just realized I ignored him, so I reply, "Yeah, I'm ready for Freddy." While he laughed, we made our way down to the stage, where we were greeted with hundreds of kids waiting impatiently. As I expected, Exy. Those kids are always a nonsense. Freddy mouthed me the words, "Good luck," before winking at me and turning his face to the large audience of kids. I did too sane with my guitar in hand. I could hardly concentrate though. I was thinking about Freddy a lot more than usual. I had this awkward feeling in my stomach. No, it wasn't a faulty wire or my decaying kid, Soul Jack. No, if you ship, if the kids are already possessing these animatronics and you ship them, do you know what that means? Do you know what? It felt more soft and romantic. Was I falling in love with him? No, I couldn't be. I mean, he was sweet around me and we were literally best friends, but he has seen some rough patches around the others, you know, he's a bit strict. Well, honestly, I'd be strict if I was a leader too. Anyway, I tried to ignore the feeling, struck a smile on my face and began to play my solo. I realized my facial expression was changing radically. I could have presumed that I looked like a crazy maniac, but oh well, no one seemed to notice, to my luck. XD. Fast forwarding 30 minutes later. We just finished the performance. Now we need to go sit down with the kids and hug them and stuff. I got really excited since I just love the warm hugs of kids and compliments. I tend to act girly sometimes. I don't know why. A habit? I don't know. So I jumped off the stage. Yes, a heavy, who knows how many ton robot jumping off a stage. Placing my guitar carefully behind me. I could never break that guitar. I'd honestly cry for hours if it got destroyed. Rapidly, kids began to clamber on me. Half of the kids stretched their arms to me widely. I presumed it was a hug, so I accepted their offer and tightly hugged them back. It was so warm. Okay, how can animatronics feel? Do they have some sort of thing in the code that emulates the touch? Because I highly doubt that. Quick, I took a glare over at Freddy to check if he was alright. We must have matching personalities or something. He was literally doing the exact same actions as me. We giggled at each other and continued to entertain and amuse the kids. They were everywhere. I could hardly breathe since they were jumping on me. Breathe, yeah, I'm gonna try and breathe. But oh well. They're like 5 or 6, can't blame them. Freddy's point of view. Bonnie was acting adorable again. I was secretly staring at him, amusing kids while kids were almost torturing me. Well, that's what it felt like. Then I realized I was being a pervert, stalking everything he did. I stopped myself and turned my head back before he noticed my unusual actions. I'm gonna be honest, sometimes when I'm with Bonnie privately, I feel a little bit gay. He seems to act differently around me, probably a friend thing. I ignore it often, like a lot sweeter. Oh my gosh, these stupid kids were all over my body now, pulling on my fluffy ears, my fur, etc. It was painful, but you can't go up to a 5-year-old and tell them to get off or stop when you know they're innocent or you're meant to be a mascot. You'll get freaking fired. Yes, animatronics can get fired, not dismantled. I decided to take a quick pan of Bonnie. He didn't look right. Bonnie's point of view, this wasn't right. In the background, I twitched my ears and heard a couple of teenagers cussing in the background. I drooped my ears down and tried to interrupt the kids who blankly listened to this nonsense. Covering their ears, I softly sang to them, trying to keep a grin on my face so they wouldn't even notice them, but to no use, it got worse. I misheard to think that they mumbled. I swear for my life I heard the word Bonnie be mentioned. I decided to be curious and tried to hear what exactly they were saying. Whilst I hugged the young ones, I stared blankly over into the distance where the teens stood in style. I quickly craned my neck towards Freddy, just if he was noticing my suspicious actions. As I gave him a wobbly smile to point out that I was fine, he smiled back at me. Red fluttered around my cheeks intensely, and the feeling came back again. I was really falling for him now. I couldn't stop glancing at his deep blue eyes, and I got really shy around him. But I was too afraid to admit it as it could break the friendship. I can't read. Or he will think of me awkwardly for the rest of my life. Besides, it's way too early to confess them yet. I blushed as red as ever. Suddenly I heard loud echoes across the room speaking, "That bunny is gay ASF. It put me off immediately as it turned towards the teenagers. I knew they were doing it. I listened to the whole conversation with a worried expression spread along my face. This is what came out. Why did I come here, guys? It was for my little bitch brother James. And this is a baby, and this place is babyish. Always has been. I found it boring when I was a child too. One started. Then another continued. I know, right? My favorite is that bunny. I don't even know his name anymore. He's just weird and it's gay and it's a boy as well. Like, who has a male purple bunny that hugs people all the time? Oh, it's disgusting, isn't it? Now the other spoke. I agree with you 100%. I can't stand him. He's annoying and he shouldn't be in the band. I hate him. I don't even know he's just babyish, and when I play FNaF, that bitch always at the door. They continue cracking with laughter. I like Bonnie 2.0B. So you're telling me FNaF the game is in the FNaF universe? None of this makes any sense whatsoever. I just stopped. My feelings were destroyed from the inside out. I tried to hold in emotions, but eventually tears were streaming down my face. Yes, because animatronics can cry. I sniffed, yes, because animatronics need to sniff, and tried to look cheerful, but no. It got worse after that. The kids were literally torturing me. They were clambering over me, pulling my fur and skin carelessly as I sat in absolute pain. Ripped in the corner of my shining eye, I noticed drips of blood rolling down my head, then piles of skin and fur floating down. I began to have a mini panic attacks in my heart as I just paced my shaky paw on there. I needed help. Freddy's point of view. I felt lost. I immediately turned over to Bonnie once I heard quiet painful whimpers in the corner. I noticed tears shining down in the corners of his deep maroon eyes that turned large. I stared at him worriedly as he shakily scrunched up into a small ball into the corner, with kids tearing him apart. Bonnie, I whispered in worry. His tears rolled down quicker, being opposite each other in the room. It was extremely difficult to make eye contact, or to speak to each other. Suddenly, I saw the massive rip in Bonnie's ear that bled painfully. My eyes changed to cheerful to worried. Bonnie, what happened? I shouted to him in an effort for him to hear me. His breathing became heavy as another lump of fur peeled off. That was it. Those kids were literally killing him now. I know Bonnie gets emotional very easily, and this was a situation where we needed to get out of here. He's my best friend. I couldn't see him suffer any longer. Rapidly, I clambered out of the mob of children and ran over to Bonnie. His whimpers got more upsetting and was a shame listening to. He nervously opened his terrified red eyes to me and mumbled something I couldn't quite make out. In an honor to save him, I forced all the kids off him as I picked him up as he wrapped his legs around me, as well as his arms while I hugged him tightly. With red burning on my cheeks, I dashed backstage. I could feel Bonnie's painful tears streaming down my back as I gently placed him down on the puffy bed sheets. Yes, bed sheets in the backstage in a pizzeria. Bonnie, what on earth happened up there? I asked him quietly, snuggling close next to him. I knew he loved to feel warm. He couldn't stop sniffling or breathing heavy at all. Yes, because animatronics need to breathe. I wrapped my arms around him to try and make him feel better. He placed his shaking and fluffy arms around my neck, sobbing painfully on my chest fur. To my surprise, he felt cold and he was shaking intensely. It felt really unusual. I felt like bursting into tears. I hated seeing him like this. It happened often. People should never mess with my emotional Bonnie. I placed my hand on his chest to show that I wanted to pull away. Bonnie's eyes looked more depressed than I had ever seen them. Silence dropped the room for a while until I broke it. Bonnie, are you okay? He looked at the sheet for a while until sniffling and getting his breath back. I know you were hating seeing me like cough. Yeah, because animatronics cough. I'm so sorry, he whimpered, upsetly, followed by coughs and tears. I felt extremely bad as I looked at him helplessly crying on the bed cover. It's okay, I said softly, wiping the tears off his cheeks. You can trust me, just explain what happened. I smiled at him. Bonnie took a glance at me, unable to calm down. He shook like mad until he spotted more drips of blood rolling down his side fur. Looking up, he regulated his breathing and spoke. I was just entertaining the kids, but then they started to tug at my fur, and he immediately burst out into dozens of tears. I pulled him up close to my chest and hugged him again tightly. Calm down. Stay calm. I'll make sure they don't hurt my precious Bon anymore, I whispered to myself. I can't stand you like this. Bonnie shyly tilted his head up and stared at me with eyes of appreciation. It confused me a little at first. The motion changed rapidly as I threw my Freddy plushie at him. Thank you, Freddy. I feel a lot better, Bonnie said softly. I smiled back at him sweetly as he did the same. Anything for you. I don't know where I would be without you by my side. How are you feeling? I asked. Slowly, he pointed towards his ear as the tears came rolling back. How does someone get upset so easily? Stroking the bloody torn ear, I stared into his scarlet eyes. Blush escaped our rosy cheeks while Bonnie snuggled closer to me. I've always loved Bonnie. I've never confessed my feelings since I didn't want to destroy the friendship, or if he didn't like two boys being together. Then, the best moment of my life happened. Bonnie point of view. It was finally. It was happening, finally. I still felt destroyed and I still could feel the unbearable pain inside, but this layer of love was covering it. Gradually, I placed my soft paw on Freddy's cheek. I felt awkward, but I took the chance. I pulled him even closer as we then locked our lips together. He felt so warm for my insides. I wrapped my arms around his neck. Freddy rolled me over. My face was probably as red as a tomato. My long-loved Freddy snuggling with me. I never thought he would ever like me in this way. It felt like a romantic dream that we had been placed in. Eventually we pulled apart. I giggled quietly, which put me off the pain and sorrow. Freddy gave me that charming look and I gave him my adorable one. Would I say this? I had to. I went ahead and whispered in his smooth ear. I love you and always have. What? Out of point of view. As Freddy lifted Bonnie up like a baby, they strolled in peace and happiness over to Spring and Goldie. What? Springtrap and this. What? Who were in tears of great shock. Luckily they agreed on the relationship. Then they protected each other for the situations they got themselves in and promised to never fail to treat them. What the hell just happened? What the hell? This is why I don't read fanfiction. There's one question that's been bugging me, and that's why? Why do people do this? Why do some people like this? I just want to understand. Why are FNaF ships popular, or at the very least, common? And there's only one thing I can do to figure it out. You guys. Yes, I'm going to be asking you why you like FNaF ships, if you like them, and your opinion on them. Maybe along with other questions too. I want to be interviewing you. There aren't any right or wrong answers. And that's why I've made a Discord server. It's purely for my investigation about FNaF ships. So, when I'm done with it, poof, it's gone. So, what are you waiting for? Also, I'm unorganized, so I don't exactly know when I'll start interviewing people. We'll just have to see how this turns out. Probably only 2 people will join the server. I don't know. Links in the description. I might be seeing you there.